That's correct.
Welcome to The Geek and the Detective.
Pull up that screen you were showing me earlier, kid. I want to make sure I'm looking at exactly what you're seeing.
It's right here on my tablet. This profile looks like a carbon copy of the local community leader we both know, but the handle has one extra underscore at the end. If you're scrolling fast, you would never notice it.
That's the hook. In my world, we call this a classic impersonation play. Most people think a crime requires a physical break-in, like a smashed window or a jimmied lock. But phishing is just a digital version of a silver-tongued con artist walking up to your front door.
And just so we're clear, it's phishing with a PH, not an F. Most people hear the word and think about a lake and a rod, so they don't take the hook seriously.
Right. They aren't reading the fine print, they're just hearing the sound. But in the digital world, that PH stands for phreaking, the old-school term for hacking. It's a lure, but instead of a worm, the bait is a fake login screen, or a security alert meant to convince you to hand over the keys yourself.
It's wild because phishing is essentially the art of deception using electronic communication. It isn't a virus that sneaks in through a hole in your software. It's a social engineering attack that targets the human operating the machine.
I see. So this social engineering is just the human version of the invisible pickpocket we talked about last month. Instead of a guy lurking on a coffee shop Wi-Fi to snag my data, he's lurking in my inbox, trying to talk me into handing it over myself.
Bingo! One uses a technical man-in-the-middle to steal the keys. The other just asks you to leave them under the mat. But the end result is the same: unauthorized access.
Look, call it social engineering if you want to sound fancy. But in my book, this is just a digital silver-tongued con artist. It's wire fraud, plain and simple. When I see a profile like this, I don't see a user. I see a predator building a duck blind. He's just sitting there, quiet, waiting for someone to fly into his sights.
People assume it's about money, but it's about access. Once they have one password, they try it everywhere. If they're in your email, they own your digital life. They'll reset your bank password, look at your private photos, and even message your boss.
I've seen her ruin lives in a weekend, kid. I've dealt with a case where a woman lost her entire retirement fund because she thought she was helping a grandchild. By the time she realized the person on the other end was a stranger, the money was gone through 3 different wire transfers. The law catches up eventually, but the digital trail can go cold fast when it crosses borders.
That's the scary part about this fake profile here. It's sending out links to supposed charity drives. If you click that link, it likely takes you to a page that looks exactly like a legitimate payment processor. You enter your card info, thinking they're doing a good deed, but you're just feeding a database owned by a criminal.
It's no different than a guy wearing a fake utility uniform knocking on your door saying there's a gas leak. He wants you to leave the house so he can slip inside. The fake email or the fake profile is the uniform. It creates a sense of authority or urgency that shuts down the logical part of your brain.
Urgency is the biggest red flag. Every phishing email I've ever analyzed has some sort of ticking clock. Your account will be deleted in 24 hours. Your package is held at the warehouse. They want you to act before you think.
In the field, Amy, we call that creating a high-pressure environment. If a suspect can make a victim feel panicked, the victim stops looking at the details. They stop noticing that the email address is from some free personal account instead of a corporate one. They stop noticing the bad grammar.
Speaking of details, look at the link in this message. If you hover your mouse over it without clicking, the actual destination appears in the bottom corner of the browser. It says it's going to a bank website, but the URL is actually a string of random numbers and letters. That's the digital equivalent of a trapdoor.
Wait, back up. You're telling me that what I see on the screen isn't necessarily where the link is going?
Exactly, Detective. It's like a billboard for a steakhouse that actually leads you to a back alley. The text of the link can say anything. It'll show you www.yourbank.com. But the underlining code, the hyperlink, is the real address.
So it's a digital mask. How do I unmask it without getting infected?
On your computer, just let your mouse cursor sit on top of the link. Don't click. And look at the status bar that pops up in the corner of your browser. A little gray bar will pop up showing the real URL. If the email says it's from Global Shipping, but the link says something like www.scam-site-123.ru, you know you're looking at a predator.
And on a phone? I don't have a mouse in my pocket, kid.
On a phone, you long press. Hold your finger down on the link for a second. A menu will pop up showing you the full address at the top of that menu. If it looks like a jumble of random letters, delete that email and don't look back.
It's like checking the ID of a guy at the door. If the face doesn't match the card, you don't let him in. And it's not just the internet anymore. My phone has been ringing off the hook with reports of vishing. That's voice phishing. You get a call. Maybe it sounds like an automated system from your bank. Or worse, it sounds like a real person who claims to be from the local sheriff's department. They tell you there's a warrant for your arrest because you missed jury duty, but you can clear it up right now by paying a fine over the phone.
I've heard those. They even use deepfake technology now to mimic voices. They can take a 30-second clip of a person speaking from a social media video and use AI to make that person say whatever they want. They call a parent pretending to be a child in trouble, crying and asking for money. It's heartless.
Heartless? It's low down. Let's slow down on that boy stuff, geek, 'cause this is the one that really gets me. We had a guy retired from the Navy, tough as nails. He gets a call at 2 a.m. It's his grandson. Sounds just like him. The kid says he's in a jail in Mexico. He's terrified and he needs $5,000 for bail right now.
And with AI, they can actually mimic the grandson's actual voice from a TikTok video.
Precisely. They don't just sound like a kid, they sound like his kid. The scammers tell the grandfather not to call the parents because mom will be too upset. They isolate the victim.
That's the social engineering part. They create a cone of silence.
My guy was halfway to the bank to withdraw the cash before his wife stopped him and said, "Let's just call the kid's cell phone first." They called, and the grandson was asleep in his bed 3 towns away. If he hadn't made that one call, that $5,000 would have been gone.
That's a narrow escape. It just shows that the emotional hack is stronger than any password.
It is predatory. The law takes a very dim view of these tactics, but the reality is that the best defense is education. You have to treat your digital doorstep with the same caution you treat your physical one. You wouldn't let a stranger into your living room just because they said they knew your neighbor. You would ask for identification. You would verify the story.
Right. And verifying means going to the source. If you get an email from PayPal saying there's a problem, don't click the link in the email. Open a new tab, type the address in manually, and log in there. If there's a real problem, the notification will be waiting for you in your actual account.
It's the same with the phone calls. If the police call you saying you owe money, hang up. Look up the official number for the department and call them back. No legitimate government agency or bank is going to demand payment via gift cards or cryptocurrency over the phone. That's a massive red flag that people still fall for, because the fear of the law is a powerful motivator.
I think people also underestimate how much they share publicly that's helping these scammers. On this fake profile we're looking at, the scammer's using information from the real person's public posts. They know where they go to get coffee. They know their dog's name. They know who their friends are. They use these details to build rapport.
It's a digital stakeout, geek. They watch your patterns until they know the right time to strike. If they see you're on vacation, That's when they might target your family members with a story about you being in an accident or in jail in a foreign country. They rely on the fact that you're hard to reach at that moment.
It really is a full-time job for these people. And it's not just individuals. Small businesses get hit by this all the time. They get an invoice that looks like it's from their regular supplier, but the bank account info has been changed. One click and the company's payroll for the month is sent to a thief.
I saw that happen to a construction firm over in the 5th District. The CEO emailed the assistant, or so she thought. It was 4:30 p.m. on a Friday. The email said, "I'm in a meeting. Don't call me, but we need to settle this vendor invoice before 5 p.m. or the materials won't be on site Monday."
The classic Friday afternoon pressure play.
Exactly, Amy. She was stressed, trying to get home to her kids. She didn't look at the email header. She just saw the name Bill and the word urgent. She wired $80,000 to a new account listed on the invoice.
Let me guess. Bill wasn't in a meeting.
Bill was on a golf course. By the time they realized the mistake on Monday morning, that money had been bounced through 3 countries. The company survived, but they couldn't pay bonuses that year. Every single employee took a hit because of one urgent email and a tired assistant. It's not just about the money, kid. It's about the trust that's shattered in an office after something like that. That's where the crime becomes a catastrophe. For a small business, that can be the end of the line. People lose their jobs, families lose their livelihoods, all because of one sophisticated email that looked just right.
We should talk about the famous person scam, too. I see those in my feed constantly. A celebrity supposedly stuck at an airport, or wanting to give away money to fans if they just pay a small shipping fee. It sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud. But when it's phrased as a personal message, people feel special.
That's the exploit of human vanity and kindness. Scammers are psychologists as much as they are hackers. They find the hole in your emotional armor, fear, greed, or the desire to help, and they poke at it.
So, what's the law actually do when we report these? If I report this fake profile right now, doesn't a detective like you get a notification?
Not immediately, geek. We look for the organized groups that are running thousands of these at once. We work with federal agencies and international task forces to track the money. The money's usually the key. It leaves a footprint, even if it's a digital one.
I try to explain to people that their computer is like a house. Your firewall is your fence. Your antivirus is your alarm system. But phishing is the scammer convincing you to turn off the alarm and unlock the gate. No piece of software can protect you if you choose to give your information away.
That's a perfect analogy, kid. You can have the strongest deadbolt in the world, but it doesn't matter if you open the door for the intruder. We see people who are so careful with their physical safety. They lock their cars and have porch cameras, but then they use password 123 for their banking login and click on every link that pops up in their inbox.
It's a lack of digital literacy. We were all thrown into this connected world so fast that we forgot to develop the street smarts for it. In the physical world, if a stranger offered you a free television but asked for your social security number first, you would walk away. Online, people see the free offer and their brain skips the suspicious part.
You have to be cynical, geek. In my line of work, cynicism keeps you alive and it keeps your cases solid. Online, a healthy dose of skepticism is your best shield. If it seems too good to be true, it's a scam. If it seems too urgent to be real, it's a scam.
What about the legal repercussions for the victims? I've heard stories where people have had their identities stolen, and they end up getting investigated because the scammer used their name to commit other crimes.
That's the secondary trauma of phishing. It's not just that you lose your money. Your identity becomes a tool for the criminal to hurt others. Now your name is on a fraudulent bank account or a fake lease. It can take years to clear your name with the credit bureaus and the courts. You're essentially a ghost in the system, fighting to prove you're who you say you are.
That sounds like a nightmare. It's not just about the hit to the bank. It's the loss of your reputation and your peace of mind. You start looking at every notification on your phone with suspicion.
And you should. But you should also be proactive. Use multi-factor authentication on everything. That's the digital equivalent of a 2-key system for a vault. Even if they get your password, they can't get in without that second code from your phone or your physical security key.
I tell everyone that. It's the single most effective thing you can do. It makes you a hard target. Scammers are lazy. They want an easy win. If they see you have extra security layers, they will usually move on to someone who doesn't. We also need to talk about how phishing is evolving. It's not just emails anymore. It's in calendar invites or text messages. They call that smishing, like SMS phishing.
Smishing. Another digital term that sounds too cute for a felony. I have seen that one skyrocketing lately. Everyone shops online now, so everyone is expecting a package. A text message feels more personal and more immediate than an email. You're more likely to click a link on your phone while you're on the go.
And the mobile browsers often hide the full URL, so you can't even see where the link is taking you as easily as you can on a desktop. It's the perfect storm for deception.
The law is trying to keep up. We're seeing more cooperation between tech companies and law enforcement to shut down these domains as soon as they're flagged. But for every one we close, 3 more pop up. It's a game of whack-a-mole.
I think people also feel embarrassed when they get caught. But these scams are designed by experts to bypass your judgment.
There's no shame in being a victim of a sophisticated crime, kid. The scammers are the ones who should be ashamed. Reporting it is the only way we can build a case and potentially stop them from doing it to the next person.
If someone realizes they have just clicked a link or given away a password, what's the first thing they should do?
Change your passwords immediately from a different, clean device. Call your bank and have them put a freeze on your accounts. Then go to the authorities. File a report. Even if the police can't get your money back today, that report is your legal paper trail. It's what you will need to fix your credit and prove the fraud later on.
And I would add, scan your device for malware. Sometimes those links try to trick you into downloading a keylogger that records every single thing you type. If you don't clean the machine, changing your password does nothing because they will see the new one.
It's a deep hole once you fall in. It's much easier to just stay away from the edge. That starts with looking at that profile you showed me and recognizing it for what it is, a trap.
It's a trap that looks like a friend. That's the hardest part for people to wrap their heads around. The internet has made us feel like we know people we have never met. We trust a profile picture and a bio.
Trust but verify, Amy, always. It is an old saying, but it has never been more relevant than it is today. In the physical world, you would verify a person's identity before you gave them money or access to your home. The digital world requires that same level of scrutiny.
I wonder if we'll ever get to the point where phishing is impossible. With biometrics and hardware keys, we're getting closer. But as long as there's a human involved, there's a vulnerability.
As long as there's something to steal, there will be someone trying to figure out a way to steal it. Crime evolves. When I started, we were worried about forged checks. Now we're worried about digital wallets and ghost profiles. The medium changes, but the motive is always the same: greed.
It's greed, plain and simple. They want a shortcut to wealth at the expense of others. They don't care if they take a family's grocery money or a senior citizen's life savings.
They have no empathy. That's why the law has to be so firm. A stolen life is a stolen life, whether it happened through a computer screen or at gunpoint.
Do you think the average person respects the digital laws as much as the physical ones? I feel like people take digital crimes less seriously until it happens to them.
I think there's a disconnect because of a distance, but those ones and zeros represent your hard work, your identity, and your security. Most people just need to be told that it's okay to be cautious. It's okay to hang up the phone. It's okay to delete an email without responding. You're not being rude, geek. You're being smart.
I always tell my friends that if someone is truly in an emergency, They won't send you a message on a random social media app asking for a wire transfer in Bitcoin. They're going to call you, and they're going to call the authorities.
Exactly, Geek. Real emergencies have real procedures. Scams have shortcuts. If you remember that one thing, you can avoid 90% of the trouble out there.
I'm looking at this fake profile again, and it just posted a new link. This one says it's a limited time offer for a gift card. It's so blatant once you know what to look for. The spelling of the store name is even slightly off.
And yet, I bet you if we could see the back end of that link, we would see hundreds of people clicking it right now. Each one is a case file waiting to happen.
It makes me want to reach through the screen and stop them. But all we can do is keep spreading the word. We have to make the knowledge of how these crimes work as common as knowing to look both ways before crossing the street.
It's a new kind of street, Geek. It's global, it is fast, and it never sleeps. But the rules of safety remain the same. Pay attention, stay skeptical, and keep your doors locked.
And maybe, don't trust every celebrity who says they're stuck in a suburban airport and needs $50 to get home.
Especially not if they want that $50 in the form of a digital gift card. That's usually a pretty good hint that something is wrong.
It's funny, but it's also so dark when you think about the people who actually send that money. They're often the ones who can least afford to lose it.
That's the tragedy of it. These criminals target the vulnerable and the uninformed. They find the person who's lonely or the person who's struggling, and they offer them a fake hand up, only to pull them down deeper.
That's why the law needs to be aggressive. We need to make sure these people know that there's no such thing as a safe haven, even if they're operating halfway around the world.
We're getting better at it, kid. Every year our tools get more sophisticated, but it's a constant race. The tech moves fast, but the principles of justice stay the same. We'll keep hunting them, and you keep teaching people how to spot them.
Deal. I'll keep an eye on the digital horizon. I'm going to report this profile right now. It's a small step, but it's a start.
Every report counts. You might be the one who provides a piece of information that links 10 different cases together. Now, show me how you track where that link was going again, kid. I want to see how they hide their tracks.
It's actually pretty clever. They use multiple redirects to bounce you through different countries. I'm pulling the traffic logs right now. It's going to be a long night, but it's going to be worth it if we can stop even one person from getting hit. One thing that always gets me is the sheer variety of the bait. One week, it's a bank. The next, it's a romance scam. They're constantly testing what works. They operate like a dark version of a marketing department.
I've seen that in some of our larger busts. They have scripts they follow, almost like a sales floor. It's a factory of lies. But remember, they only have what has been leaked or what you have shared. They don't have the whole picture unless you give it to them. The phone call or the email is just the bridge. They still need you to walk across it.
I'm going to remember that. Hanging up or deleting is a position of strength, not weakness.
Absolutely. You are the one in control of your phone and your computer. Never forget that.
Look at this. That link on that fake profile just redirected to a site that's going to download a file automatically. If I didn't have my browser locked down, that would be it.
That's the digital equivalent of someone trying to slip their foot in the door while you're talking to them. Let's keep digging. I want to see where this server is actually located.
It looks like it's jumping through a proxy in Eastern Europe right now. I'm pulling the final set of IP addresses now. We're getting close, Detective.
Good. I'll start the paperwork for the international request. We're going to make it a terrible day for this scammer. People need to know that the law extends into the digital world. You're not alone out there.
Knowing there's people like you, Derek, working the beat makes it a little less intimidating.
We just need everyone to do their part, kid. Be a good witness. Report the crimes. Don't let the scammers win by staying silent. A community that talks to each other is a community that's hard to rob.
I think that's the most important takeaway. Your voice is a weapon against these people.
I couldn't agree more. It's the best way to protect your house and your computer. Now, let's see if we can shut this guy down for good.
I've got the final destination. It's a server in a small town. This is perfect.
Excellent work, kid. I'll take it from here. You monitor that screen and let me know if anything changes.
You got it, Derek. Let's get him.
That's the plan. Let's go, Amy.
Thanks for tuning in to The Geek and the Detective. If today's show sparked your curiosity, hit follow and share the show with someone who loves learning about real-world and online connections. Stay sharp, stay secure, and remember every case leaves a trace. Until next time.